Hey guys, welcome back to another video in the r/entitledparents subreddit. Today I have two entitled parent stories for you, both involving entitled mothers, one who tries to steal a stranger's cat, and the other who sells her husband's vintage guitar behind his back for $50, then tries to steal it back when she finds out how much it's worth. So basically today's video is about Karen burglars. Enjoy! My narcissistic mom is trying to steal a cat from a stranger's children. I've only been lucid to the fact that my mom is a narcissist and manipulator for a few months now, because she always controlled what I could think or say my whole childhood. When I started dating my boyfriend, I moved out from her house and slowly started to see from an outside perspective her true colors. Now that I feel like I can finally think for myself, I haven't been holding my opinions back from her very much anymore, which is driving her crazy, and we get into lots of arguments over it. I think one of the craziest things my mom is trying to do though is steal a cat from 4 children she doesn't even know because she loves the cat. Simba, his real name and not the one my mom gave him, is this really sweet, fat, and playful indoor-outdoor cat. He showed up to my mom's house a few months ago and she gave him some canned food, and he'd been coming back multiple times after that and staying for hours at a time. She wound up putting a collar and tag on him, and she got a call from a man saying that she can't collar this cat because he's not her cat. It's his, and his 4 kids' cat. My mom didn't care. She already decided that Simba just had to be hers. We don't know anything about the people who called other than the man's first name, that he has 4 kids, and that they have a cat. Beyond that, it's impossible to make any judgment calls. My mom kept putting collars and tags on him, and Simba's family kept taking them off. My mom and grandma are trying to find any way they can to say that the cat's being abused. They say because he's a rough player, he must be abused by the kids. That because they feed him dry food, he's abused. And the man has called my mom a few times, calling her a B and a-hole and stuff. They say because you can hear the kids playing in the other room when he's on the phone, shouting and cussing out my mom, that he must be abusive to the kids and the cat. I don't know about anyone else, but if someone kept trying to steal my cat, I'd probably have some choice words for them too. Plus, the man could be standing in his bedroom or outside with the window open when he makes the phone calls. Who's even to know? I've also had cats in the past who'd been abused before I'd gotten them, and in no way does Simba act like an abused cat. He's the sweetest, friendliest cat I've met. He just doesn't like to be picked up and will fuss about it a bit. My mom has put a dog collar with a tag on him and had put a stitch into the collar so he wouldn't be able to slip it off. I tried telling her cat collars are made to break away for a reason, but she didn't care. Before she'd put the stitch into the collar, they found it caught on a big branch, so the poor thing very possibly could have choked to death. He also keeps getting his jaw stuck in the dog collar, since it's made for dog necks and not cat necks, and he could get lockjaw or even break his jaw. My mom was super crazy when it came to Simba this Christmas. On Christmas Eve day, the man called and said he's going to make the cat an indoor cat because he's sick of her trying to collar his cat. He says when Simba disappears, his children get super worried, but my mom's convinced the kids don't care since the man has never put up a lost cat poster or anything. My mom was crying all night long about losing Simba and saying, "Oh, woe is me for not being able to ever see the cat I stole from children ever again." My mom tried telling the man that nobody owns cats, cats choose where to go, and he said that his cat is microchipped. My mom wants to call the vet and make them change the microchip information for him. She doesn't think you can steal a cat, but you can steal a dog because in the eyes of the American law, dogs are considered property, but cats aren't. And that cats haven't been domesticated as long as dogs have been, so they're still wild animals. A guy in my city had his lawn inflatables stolen in the night, and my mom was hoping he can get them back and that the thief is caught. Yet in the same breath, she justifies stealing someone's cat. My mom also already has 2 cats that she doesn't give any attention to just because they're not as cuddly. She just wants to steal a cat without even first loving the 2 she already has. And even if she's dead set on getting a more cuddly cat, she's trying to steal one instead of adopting one from the shelter. When I was a kid, we had a very friendly cat who'd wind up going missing for a week or more because other people would pick him up and take him in. My mom always called them saying that's not their cat, and she'd be happy to share him with them if they pay half his vet bills. They always gave the cat back after she said, "He's already got a family." Any of those people could have told her, "Look lady, you've got 3 kids, so clearly he's being abused. I'm doing him a favor. I give him home-cooked meals over your wet canned food. I'll just call the vet and get his chip info changed. I put a collar and tag on him. I changed his name. He's my cat now." Tough crap. She'd throw a fit over that, and I know she'd cuss them out or even call the police. I just don't know where my mom gets off with her outrageous hypocrisy. OP's mom sounds awful. Imagine being so immature and selfish that you think someone else's cat should be yours just because you want it, and not caring who you hurt to get it. Not to mention, the bee already has 2 other cats that she ignores. This mom seems so horribly entitled and narcissistic that I really doubt she would ever change. So with that being said, hopefully the neighbor does indeed make Simba an indoor kitty for his children's sake, because I'm sure they would be absolutely heartbroken if their cat went missing. In my old neighborhood where I used to live, there was a fluffy orange cat that I named Butterscotch, and when he'd come to the window, I'd yell to my cat, "Luna, your boyfriend's here." And I still love him and miss him to this day because he was so sweet and cuddly. But you know what I didn't do? Steal him, because I knew he was someone else's cat. I'm just still trying to pick my jaw up off the floor after reading that. Wow. Entitled mom sells me a broken guitar because her baby can't play it. Multiple good endings. This story happened some years ago while I was living in the East Coast. I was driving back home from a friend's house and decided to take a detour through one of the more nicer neighborhoods because it was the beginning of fall and I'm just a sucker for the scenery. While driving, I just so happened to have found another thing that I go crazy for, a garage sale. With me having some money on hand, I decided that this was fate and pulled over to check it out. At first, I didn't really see anything special. Just the kind of stuff you would expect to see at any garage sale. Old furniture, clothes, DVDs, and other small items. But then in the corner of my eye, I saw something that I just didn't expect to see. A guitar. I went in for a closer look, expecting it to be some kind of cheap beginner guitar, the kind with a brand name you don't recognize. But no! What stood before me was an actual Gibson Les Paul. Side note, to those who don't know, Gibson is a very prestigious guitar brand name and Les Paul is possibly their most famous model type. This model of guitar is legendary for being the weapon of choice amongst god-level rock stars. Example, Slash from Guns N' Roses or Ace from Kiss. Now back to the story. She was beautiful, and yes, I refer to guitars as she. She was gold in color with white trim and looked kind of old but in really good condition. But what got me in an actual state of shock was the price tag. It said the price was $50. I couldn't help but think that the person selling this forgot to add another 0 to the end of the price, as well as 1 to the beginning. So I picked up the guitar and went up to the woman handling the sale to ask her about it. She didn't really look like a typical entitled parent, but her attitude and body language just radiated entitlement. It was like her aura was almost made out of pure smugness and hatred for the working class. Just by talking to her, I couldn't help but feel that she was the kind of soccer mom that you would expect to yell at the coach, as well as the referee, other parents, and maybe some of the kids. But I digress. Excuse me, ma'am, can I ask about this guitar? The price says it's $50, is that correct? Yes, that's correct. Well, that's an unusually good price. Is there a reason for that? Yes, it's broken. I figured someone could use it like a decoration in their man cave or something. Hearing that just broke my heart. But it also got me curious because I couldn't find anything physically wrong with the guitar. No cracks or any other signs of damage. I started asking more questions thinking maybe I could fix it later. However, it was at this moment that any and all logic began to die and roll down the hill away from me. Can I ask what's wrong with it? Yes, my baby can't play it. Excuse me? My son, he says it's unplayable. Oh, does he work with guitars like a technician or something? Oh no, he can't work. My baby is only 12. Hearing that stunned me for a quick second, but I then decided to try to give the benefit of the doubt. I don't know this kid, so maybe he was one of those young musical virtuosos who got accepted to Juilliard early or something. So I take it your son is musically talented? Oh, very much so. He plays that Guitar Hero game all the time. What? Oh, you know, that game where you play music. He's constantly playing that game and is always getting the high score on it. I kept a straight face, but my mind was turning into that meme of the woman trying to do math. So, because of that, you got him a guitar? Well, of course. When you have a child as gifted as mine, it's important that you nurture their gifts. So you think he knows what he's doing? He obviously knows what he's doing, so if he says it's broken, then it's broken. Listening to her made my brain hurt, but it also helped me decide to take the chance and buy the guitar. While paying, this woman went on a long, insane rant about how the guitar was actually a gift from the kid's late grandfather, from the dad's side of the family, and how he must not like her son because he gave him an old hand-me-down guitar instead of a brand new one. Hearing all this legitimately made me upset, but I just decided to keep my mouth shut and leave. After getting home, I immediately took the guitar, plugged her into my amp, retuned her, and played a few notes and chords. To my amazement, she sounded perfect. It felt as if her soul was singing the praises of freedom. I spent the rest of the day playing and tripping out that not only have I purchased my first ever Gibson Les Paul, but I also only paid $50. But the story doesn't end here. A few weeks later, I made a friend at a party who was an actual guitar technician. I told him my story, and he said if I wanted, he could appraise my guitar for me and tell me her true value. I took him up on the offer, and the results blew me away. Turns out my baby was a vintage Les Paul from 1973, retailing at well over $3,000. He then asked me if I were interested in selling, but I told him there was absolutely no way I'm ever letting go of her. But the story still doesn't end here. Shortly after getting my baby appraised, I get word from a friend who turns out works in the same office building with the husband of EM. She updates me about what she's learned, and apparently EM's husband is of course righteously pissed. It turns out not only did EM sell a very expensive guitar for just $50 that was a gift from his father to her spoiled kid, but she also sold it without him knowing. Not only that, my friend informs me that EM has also been looking for me. My friend tells me that EM wants to find me so she can demand the guitar back. Not offer to buy it or even pay back what I paid. She wants to demand that I give it back for free because apparently I scammed her out of a priceless family heirloom and robbed her child's ability to play music. My friend said she didn't say anything about her knowing me, but then asked me if I wanted her to say anything to them about who I was. I tell her absolutely not. If she wants a guitar, she can buy a new one with the money I gave her, just like she planned. And I agree that this guitar is a family heirloom, but it's my family heirloom. Sorry, EM, but if it means anything, if you're reading this, I named her Karen. Frickin' grand score for OP. I never understood why people don't do research on things before they sell them. But even regardless of that, the part that hurts the most is that the guitar has sentimental value to EM's husband. I can't believe someone would sell a vintage guitar that belonged to someone's father without them asking. Even if it was broken, I'm sure her husband himself would want to hang a beautiful gold Gibson on the wall. I feel awful for the husband, but then again, that's who he chose to be his wife, so... Also, can I just add one more thing, and that she had the audacity to relate Guitar Hero with actual guitar playing? Despicable. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed those two entitled parent stories. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe. I truly appreciate when you do, and I will see you in the next Reddit stories. Bye!